The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ooh, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, because you be watching this at any time of the day. It is your other favorite duo, okay? Your favorite prevention training specialist from the network's program, Dwayne Savid, and
your healthy him navigator, Kaylin.
Yes. As mentioned last week, I was gone because it was my birthday and I was doing birthday things with my birthday friends, okay? So, but I'm here now, and this week, Ryan D is out because he is out, gallivanting in the Coachella Valley. But we are here, we are live, and we have Kaylin. How are you feeling, Kaylin? What's going on?
I'm feeling great. How about you?
I'm feeling real good. I'm a little congested, as y'all may or may not be able to hear, but we're going to work through this, okay? It's allergy season. The pollen is out, and so are my sinuses, okay? So, before we get started, we want to thank APLA Health, Pyro Media Network, and CDC for,
the money.
Okay, the money, honey. Okay, the money. Okay, because without them, we could not do all of this. Okay, so if you want to talk about your swab and chill before we get started.
Sure. So if you are looking to get tested for HIV, but you don't want to leave your house because sometimes going to the clinic is just too much, you can always hit us up and we can send you one of our swab and chill HIV kits. It only takes 20 minutes and it's a at-home test kit that you can do in the comfort of your own home. And you just send us back your results and we will give you the money.
Okay. And also, they have this thing called the Healthy Him Checklist. So if you complete that, but then come into the actual clinic to do the regular STD and STI screening, you'll get some more money. Okay. So make sure y'all come in for that. Our Out Here clinic is open. Okay. So come through, come and see me or come see Kaylin if you want an NC test. Okay. If you don't want to wait in the mail to get your swab and chill and what have you. Okay. We also have links to care services, Prep and Pep. And we have I'm going to try to say it like Ryan, our groups. So we have our groups on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Tuesdays, we have our hip hop class. Wow, it has really turned into a slumber party. We have our hip hop class that happens on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8, taught by me. Okay, and then we also have our BQT, Black Queer Talks, that happens every Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30. Okay, so come through. Wow, we really need to start paying our bill. All right. So let's get into why we are here today. The main topic, interracial love, says who? Okay. Ooh, we did it. Okay. So yes, is it true love? Am I a sellout? Do they love me for me?
Come on.
Let's get into it. Okay, I'm an actor, okay, a thespian. So what is interracial dating? Let's get into that.
So interracial dating is basically when you're dating someone who is outside of your race that you identify as. So if you're Black and you're dating somebody who's white, if you're Latino, dating somebody who's Asian, and all those in betweens, you basically just dating somebody who is not the same race as you.
Yes, okay. Now, I've definitely had my fair share of interracial dating, from from dating white men to Hispanic men or Latinx men, even an Asian once. And so they were all very interesting experiences. Like, how about you, Caitlin? Have you, well, child, let's talk about it.
So I have also been in interracial dating. I'm actually in an interracial relationship right now, but I've dated white men, Latinx men, Asian, and even Middle Eastern.
Really? Middle Eastern?
Yes, Middle Eastern.
Wow, sounds hairy.
But it was a bit hairy.
Oh, I know that's right. So tell us about it. It's like, what was your experience like? Because I know for me, like, it was cool until it wasn't. Like, there was just certain things, like, culturally that they just could not connect with me on that I was just very, like, turned off by.
Yeah. So it was like that for me with all the relationships that I have had that were interracial.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of it was when it came to understanding each other. It wasn't that they couldn't, it's just simply they wouldn't. They didn't want to take the time to, do the research. I took my time to do the research for, the do's and don'ts for their culture, their things. But when the roles were reversed, it was very much, well, fuck you, bitch. Just be happy I'm spending time with you. Ooh. So that's what it was given.
Wow. It gives white privilege. But, or privilege by association of whiteness. But, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's probably the reason why none of my, like, interracial dating experiences ever really worked out, because it was just like, as much as I, could have, like you said, done my research about their culture and everything like that, I just was not into it, especially when it came to, like, dating, like, the white guy, the very few. There was probably, like, two, to be honest. The two white guys that I've ever dated in life so far. It was just, like, they were like white. Like, it wasn't like they were European or, like, Middle Eastern or Persian or anything like that. Like, no, they were very regular, like, all American Caucasian, And so I was very, I tried it just for the experience, just to see, like, okay, like, I say I don't discriminate, so I had to hold true to that. And I tried it, and it wasn't given for me. It wasn't given for me. But how long have you been with your partner now? And what's their ethnicity?
So my current partner, he's white. And
what kind of white?
He's
like white or like European white? Spanish white?
He did. So he's a mix of Russian and German white.
Ooh, so definitely not. So it's white, but it's given like European white.
Yes.
Milky.
Very much so.
Okay.
But we've been together with each other for 5 years, and we've had our ups and downs. I'm not even gonna lie in front.
Okay.
But
tell us about it. Like, so because I like for me it was just like going into like stores or like even restaurants and how they would treat like servers and things like that. It was very much so like from a place of entitlement. And I didn't really appreciate that. Like, I didn't appreciate like the condescending like way they would talk to the people who were working there. I didn't really like their mindset of like in regards to like people who were working at, say, like fast food restaurants or like retail stores or things like that. It was giving very much like, oh, they could do better. They're lazy. They just don't want to da 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 da. And I was just, all of that is just not. It's not cute to me, because it shows that you don't really understand what it means to like have to take those jobs.
Yes. So with me and him, it was different. Like he was never like, when I met him, I worked in fast food. So, but he was like, you work harder than I do. I got to tip my hat to you because...
Yes. Not a lot of white men are like that. So kudos to your man.
Because he was just like, bitch, we all had some shitty jobs. I worked at McDonald's. I ain't knocking nobody who got to flip burgers. When you got to flip burgers, flip the fucking burgers. But do what you can to get your coin.
Okay, I know that's right. And I know, because Kaylin is all about his coin, y'all. If you don't know, he is very much about that dollar.
I need my coins.
Okay. He needs his coins.
to live this lavish lifestyle. But there are like the cons that go with it. I mean, because you'll get it from both sides. You'll get the stank stares from the white folks, the black folks, the Latinos, the Asians. Everybody gonna have something to say. Everybody gonna stare. Everybody gonna be like, and I'm like, okay, you haven't seen black before? I know, it's beautiful. It is. Okay.
It's very beautiful.
Calm down.
Okay, but like, have you ever felt? This was very hard for me because it's like, I love being black. I love everything about it. I love the shade. I love the culture. Definitely love the food. I love the diverseness of blackness and the diaspora that is the color of blackness. But how can we identify if we're being fetishized or not? Like, how do we know if like somebody from a different like cultural background or ethnicity is dating us for us and not for the BBC? Okay.
So,
and for those of y'all who don't know what BBC is, that's big black cock. Okay. Big black cock.
But do we have to use that word cock? Because it is just.
I mean, I don't use it, but that's a part of the whole like fetishization thing. And you know,
just say big black dick.
The BBD.
Exactly.
The BBD. I mean, but if you go on the porn websites, that's definitely not what it's giving. It's not giving BBD. It's giving BBC. So, and that's a part of the fetishization. So that's really like, yeah, like going back to the question, like, how do we know? Because for me, to be honest, I always felt like fetishized. I felt like I was always like a trophy, or like a look, I have a black man, or like I have a black friend. Like it was not. I could never really tell if they were like interested in me or just interested in like
what was between my legs,
or blackness by association,
yes.
Like trying to enter the culture by way of me.
So you never really like can fully like, oh, am I just being fetishized or if I'm not? But most of the time it comes out, like at least for me.
Yeah.
When I've been with different guys, and it's always been, even if it's just during sex or just casual conversation, it's always the, oh, let me see I want to see that black dick. Oh, I like black men.
They say dick?
Like, some do. Not all of them use the BBC.
Wow, I've been so conditioned to like. I really thought that all the white people use cock.
Wow. At least my boyfriend does.
Wow, I love that for you, because that word really is cringy. It's cringy.
It's very cringy. It's not given.
No, it's not.
I just think of an ugly rooster when everybody be like, oh, cock, and then it's just how they say it. It's never just like cock. It's just cock. It's just so fucking it's no.
What is it?
Cock. That's how they say it.
Oh Lord.
But as far as the fetishization goes, a lot of time you feel like you're being fetishized a lot, even if you're not. But how I've been able to like determine if I'm just somebody's fetish or if they actually give a shit about me. I'm like, okay, when shit hits the fan, where is their mindset at? Where are they at? Are you able to see things from my point of view? Are you willing to put in the work to know me for me? Or are you just gonna go off of what was presented to you at the very beginning? Because if you with somebody and 2 years down the line and they don't know anything about you but what you presented online, then bitch, you're a fetish to them. They're not trying to get to know you in any way, shape, nor form. You just something to pass the time until they find somebody else.
Yeah.
That can give them what they need.
Yeah. And that makes a really good point too, because I definitely experienced that as well, dating. Not even, it wasn't even a white man. It was a Latinx man this time. And he just like was more interested in like, you know, the hood chronicles of it all, if you will. Like, you know, like my upbringing in Baldwin Hills, because I'm a Los Angeles native, how that was per se. But never really like personal questions or intimate questions about me. You know, it was always about like the stereotypical like hoodness. And like, no shade, one time he tried to say nigga, and I had to like correct that real quick. Sorry. I said that online, but yeah, I can say it, you can't because I'm black. But yeah, he tried to say that, and I was like, That is not okay.
I had a Latino boyfriend who did the same thing, but he decided to slap the hard ER on it.
Oh.
And that was a no-go for me.
Oh, did you slap the hard ER out of him?
It was a whole fist fight.
Oh, period.
And I don't condone violence. You should not be beating up your partners.
No, we don't condone domestic violence, but we also don't condone disrespect and,
especially if you're making a derogatory term like that towards somebody who you claim to love and care about. It's just not.
Yeah. See, like that is just the other thing, because people get mad and really just everything just goes out the window. And for me, like, one thing I will really not stand for is like racism and bigotry. So like I just would never see, and that's one of the main reasons why I just was like, I tried it. It was cute, but I think I'm just gonna stick to like dating within the Black community. No Sade. And there's nothing wrong with that to me.
It's nothing.
But but that doesn't necessarily mean that I knock anybody who wants to do interracial dating, because interracial. Interracial dating. I told you I was a little congested. But interracial dating, because where you find love is where you find love. Like, if somebody loves you for you, I think that is definitely worth sticking around and worth keeping, regardless of ethnicity, ethnicity, gender, all of that. But for the sake of the conversation today, ethnicity.
Because they say love is an action word.
Oh.
Love does not have a gender.
Okay.
Love does not have a race.
And don't.
So I need you to show the love.
Okay. Ooh. But what are some? I know we went over a few pros and cons, but like, what are some other ones that you have ran into over the years? Like,
so I'll start with the pros first. So pros, he's been able. So like, with interracial dating, you have the opportunity to educate somebody as far as not only about you, but about your culture, your race, everything that they would need to know. And then they can start to see things from a different point of view, other than how they were just raised, or how you and your culture were presented on TV. Because a lot of people just use that as, oh, this is what I saw on TV, so that's how that is. And so they can then see it for themselves. And with that, there's no longer an excuse. They can't say, I didn't know, because you already knew. I've already told you. We've had this conversation. So you know the do's and don'ts. And if they choose to do that, then maybe they're just not the one for you. Just, it's been real. But there are really good pros after like you getting to know each other. There are even more cons. Between the stank looks, the way that
stank looks from who?
So you get stank looks from, at least from me in my own personal experiences.
Yes.
I've gotten stank looks from white guys, Latino guys, Black guys, and Asian guys.
What?
Yes.
So everybody.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and I've had people who were like, oh yeah, we're cool. But they'll walk over to my boyfriend and be like, so we heard you like Black guys. So what about us? When you're done playing in the kiddie pool with him, then you can come play with us. And I'm like, bitch. And then
trying to take your man.
Yeah. And then I've had white guys that have been like, oh, he's with you. And I'm like, yes, bitch, he's with me. Is there a problem? And I've been told, even by Latino guys, oh, I've been called the quote unquote lowest of the low.
What does that mean? Lowest of the low of what?
So how the guy put it, and he was Latino, he put himself and anyone who was white on a higher pedestal. And then basically, in his mind, African Americans were at the very bottom. They were not considered attractive. They were not considered anything. So why would my white boyfriend want to be with someone like me? In which I told him, okay, bitch, if you want him and you think you bad enough to take him from me, by all means. Because if you could take him, then he was never mine to begin with. And if that's the way he wants to think, then by all means, you can have him. Because I can always find somebody else.
That's weird. Okay.
I'm like, and I've gotten, the stank look from Asians who are like, oh, well, they believe that they're the only ones who's supposed to be with anybody who's white, but that's a whole nother story for a different time.
So what is it? What is it like? Like, how do you cope? Or how do you deal with like all of the stank looks and stuff and like negative reactions?
For me, they'll come with this negative comments and shit like that, and I'm like, okay, but why are you really mad though? Are you mad because I'm with him? Are you mad that he's with me? Or are you mad that you don't have nobody to begin with? So make it make sense. If you want to date somebody who's not your race, go ahead and do so. But don't shit. But if you don't, then you don't have to. But don't shit on me because I'm living my best life and you over here still trying to figure out yours.
Yeah, like I've noticed that a lot in the Black community as well. Like, we kind of like frown upon, people dating outside of the Black community. Or the misconception or the alleged, not the misconception, because some people do this, but like the belief that, Black people get successful and then, date and or marry a white person. Like, why is that? Because for me, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Like, why are we so concerned about somebody else's love life? Like, if we're not dating them, that white person, okay, like or brown or etc ethnicity, okay, then why does it matter? Like, why does it matter? Why are we so concerned? I mean, I understand like slavery, okay, we get it, okay, like if that is your reason for not wanting to, like, you just can't, like, it's the trauma, the PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome, like, then by all means I get it, like, because I definitely have a little bit of that too, because like I mentioned earlier, like I was dating a white person, I felt like a trophy, like I felt like I was more of an object of, I even hate saying this, the object of ownership than a person or a romantic partner. So,
And I've had several situations like that where that's how I felt, and I just ended the shit right then and there because I'm like.
So what kept you keep going, like, to date like other ethnicities? Like, what kept you open? Because like after my few experiences, I was just like, nope.
So what kept me going? Well, one, my family is diverse, so there's a lot of different mixtures of races within my family. So I never really looked at it. It was like, oh, well, I just went off of, okay, I think the person's cute. I like them. Let's see if we vibe. If we vibe, great. If we don't, I'm gonna keep pushing.
Okay.
So it was just like, I guess it was a little bit of rebellion because, growing up, you get to talk. Don't bring home such and such and such. Don't bring home no white, no Latino, no Asian, no. And then I was just like, okay. But then you're laughing about it because you're like, but you'll bring them home, but you're going to tell me not to.
Well, that's an interesting thing to bring up too, because like I don't think I ever got that talk per se. Like I was never really told not to. However, my brother did have like a long-term relationship with a Latinx woman, and that was very interesting for us. Because she was very much of the light skin persuasion, very like Spaniard Latinx, and so it was just like. But she was really cool. She was really cool, very nice, very sweet. And, it was no nonsense. I loved her.
You find some good ones every now and again.
Yeah.
Not all of them is good. Like, you got to weed out the bad ones. But then you find, like, the good cream of the crop after a while.
Okay. I just didn't have the patience to weed them out. But what are some misconceptions that you've heard about interracial dating?
So, a lot of misconceptions that you hear is, when you're dating someone who's white, you get they all got money. Girl, not all of them got money. Some of them is living in a trailer, and the vast majority of them ain't living nowhere but on the streets. So not all of them got money. There's never a cup up. I'm like, and you get all black guys are super aggressive. Not all black guys are super aggressive. Now we have some aggressive tendencies because I can be aggressive.
Exactly.
But I'm not just walking down. I'm like, we're not just walking down the street being like, shut up, bitch. I'm like, I don't even know you to be walking down the street. And 9 times out of 10, I probably won't even say nothing to you because I'm too busy trying to get my coin.
Okay. Look.
And it's, oh, well, people can only offer you, or because you're of a different race, you're placed into different categories. So when you're African American, you're placed as you have to be the aggressive, domineering boyfriend who's always just like tearing up the guts. When you're Asian, you have to be you have to be submissive to everybody. When you're Latino, you have to be very promiscuous. You have to be for everybody. And then when you're white, you have to make sure that you funded everybody. And it's when you actually meet and talk to people, you're like, oh, so people have their own personalities outside of the stereotypes that you're actively given.
Yeah.
So you just have to put yourself back for a moment and just think about, okay, how do I want people to see me and how do I see other people? Because you can't give like, oh, well, I'm gonna treat them this way, but they better not treat me this type of way. Because then you just continue in that loop and then we all gonna be stuck some 20 years down the line dealing with the same bullshit that we're dealing with now. Right. And it ain't cute.
It's not cute at all. Wow, Kayla. You are really giving it up today. You are giving us like all the words, all the advice, all the energy, okay? And we love it, okay? But we are about to take a short break. And after that, we'll be right back with Interracial Love Says Who.
Are you in need of a quick and easy way to know your HIV status? Swab and Chill is a discreet way to learn your status in the comfort of your own home. The process gives you results in 20 minutes. Swab the upper gums, swab the lower gums, and voila! Simply follow the colorful step-by-step instructions located inside the kit. Or call APLA and we can assist you virtually. In addition, all kits include condoms and lube for that penetrative fun. For our trans clients, we have Swab and Chill Plus, a customizable kit for trans-specific needs. And we haven't forgotten about COVID either. All kits include personal protection gear, like face masks, comfortable yet stylish. A personal touch tool for dealing with those germ-infested handles and ATM keypads. Wet wipes for those little messes that need cleaning up. Also, keep that summer body protected with Swab and Chill sunscreen. And don't forget about our fanny packs for those quick trips to the store. All this can be yours. Simply call Swab and Chill at 323-329-9713 or email us at swabandchill@apla.org. We would love for you to be part of our Swab and Chill family.
Come swab and chill with us!
Welcome back, y'all. We was plotting. So, are you ready? Are you ready?
We about to snatch some wigs.
Okay, period. So, being a Black queer man, do you ever feel like you fetishize other ethnicities?
There's times that I do, and most of it's coming just from a place of lust. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There's been times where I'm like, I'm gonna tear his ass up. And I'm like, okay. But it's going based off of what I've seen in media and what it's presented in porn. So I'm like, oh, okay. But most of the time, I have to go back check my own bias just because I'm like, I don't want nobody fetishizing me, so I can't go around fetishizing other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a struggle though because it happens so naturally with people, so you tend to forget, and then you're like, oh shit, bitch, check yourself. But has that ever happened with you?
Child, I'm not gonna lie, my whole little interracial dating experience is because it was like fetishization. I just wanted to try them all. I was like, okay, and then I'm not to make people sound like Pokemon, but
I was about to say, come on, Pokemon.
okay,
Like,
no,
catch 'em all.
but I did ask. I was like, okay, let me try a little Mexican over here. I want a Puerto Rican over there. I was like, let me try the Pinoys over there. Okay, and let me try Korean over here. I was like, I wanted to see what it was giving, but it was all just because like. I don't know if it was necessarily like a fetish because it wasn't like I was doing it for any type of like sexual gratification. More so, it was more
no, some sexual gratification.
The Puerto Rican one was definitely for sexual gratification. Like I heard they had
it was good.
I heard they had the goods as far as like the assets and the moisture in the assets. To make it do what it needs to do. And you know what, y'all? They was right. But other than that, it wasn't for fetishization. It was more over to like try to expose myself to different cultures and just be open. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the Black community as a whole, as much as we probably don't want to admit it, we do tend to fetishize other cultures because of things mentioned earlier prior to our commercial break that Kaylin was saying, like, like Asians are supposed to be like submissive and like, Latinx are supposed to be like promiscuous and like real freaky deaky and things, like, and Black people were supposed to have like bigger everything, bigger and better everything. And that is true. Okay. But yeah, that shouldn't be a reason that you date a person or are actively seeking out dating a specific ethnicity. Like I'm never gonna go out and be like, oh, like I want to marry like I want to marry a Latinx guy because I want my dick sucked from the back every morning before I wake up. Like what? Like how do you know that they're gonna be into that? How do you know? Because they're Latinx? No, that's not how that works. Like, and I think a lot of people have the game messed up when they think that way. Like, have you ever thought that way?
There's times where I could be honest. I'm like, oh, if I get with someone who's Latinx, then they gonna do all the types of crazy shit. And I'm like, and if I want to get into some BDSM, I could get with a white dude because they into all that craziness. But then when it was presented to me, I was like, it's not for me though. I can't do it because it just wasn't given. Like when you first think about doing it, you're like, oh, I'm excited to do it. But then when it's actually presented to you, and then you're like, but why do they want me specifically? And then you're realizing I'm fetishizing them, and bitch, they fetishizing me in return. Bitch, this is not gonna give. So it just became very much that. So if I'm telling people that they need to check their fetishization of me, then I need to also check mine on them.
So that makes a very good point and a nice segue into my next question. So, is it preference or racism? Why? And what do you think? I'll start with you because, like, for me, coming from the Black perspective, because that's all I got, I genuinely do feel like it's a preference for me. Like, I could date out of my ethnicity, but for what I'm looking for and what I want, like, I just want to be able to somebody who's going to get me. Like, I don't want to have to teach. I don't want to have to educate on, like, my culture and how we do things and how we talk to each other and how we show love and the food that we make and how to cook it and all of that. Like, I don't want to have to. I want none of it. None of it. Get rid of it. It's out. You're out. You're out of here. Like, no, I'm not doing it. It's too much work. I already feel like in the world, even in Black culture, I already feel like, you know, an odd man out, you know, being a Black, queer, gender fluid male, you know, like it can, you know, that's a hard combo for people to wrap their heads around enough without having to add like Blackness on top of it. So yeah, for that reason, for me personally, I would say like it's definitely preference.
Yeah, for me it's the same. It's preference, because I can be with anybody, doesn't matter their race or ethnicity, because I'm like, if I love you, I care about you, I fucks with you, I'm a rock with you, then that's just that. I'm like, it doesn't matter what race you are, because when I started having feelings for you, it wasn't your skin complexion that I fell in love with. It was what you presented, your personality, and everything else that you brought to it. I was like, you didn't get. I'm like, I didn't. Nobody gets to pick their ethnicity. They don't get to pick, oh, what color their skin gonna be when they come out. You just come out and you just are.
Yeah, but with that being said, like, have you ever been discriminated against or discriminated somebody who was trying to approach you who may have been the other ethnicity and vice versa? Because although I've never outwardly discriminated against a person who was of another ethnicity trying to approach me, to be honest, 9 times out of 10, like the only other ethnicity that is going to approach me is like a Latinx person from my experience, and like a Middle Eastern Armenian type as well, which is random, and they're usually drunk. But like, yeah, not a lot of other ethnicities really approach me. And as far as like when they do, I don't feel like I ever be like, oh no, I don't date like Latinx guys. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, like let's see what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I don't discriminate against them based off, oh, it's a person of a different ethnicity walking up to me. I'm like, okay, hi, how are you? And I'm like, if I like you, then I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll talk. But if I decide I don't want to talk to you, it has nothing to do with the fact of your race. It's just I don't want to talk to you. You're not giving what I want at the moment. I'm like, in what I want, if I'm looking for just a casual rump in the damn bedroom, then yeah, I'll let you know. I'm like, but if you're coming up to me and you're like, you should like me because I'm this race, and I'm gonna look at you like you're stupid. And I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna walk away. Because you get a lot of that, especially on the dating apps. And there's a fine line between preference and racism, which a lot of people like to confuse the two. There's a fine line between the two. If I say I like chocolate cake, but I also like, carrot cake, I will eat carrot cake if there's no chocolate cake around. It's not going. I'm like, it's still there. I'm like,
it's still cake.
I like the cake. Ooh. I like this flavor a little bit more than the other, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm completely against this. But when you're going on dating apps and you're like, white only, Latin only, this only, and you putting that only, and you have the nerve.
I haven't been on apps in a minute, so what?
Gall to basically go, no N-word, no this, no that,
no.
and you're coming with the racial slurs.
I gotta be on.
It's no longer a fucking preference. I don't care how you want to flip it, spin it, or put it. It's not a fucking preference. You're flat out being racist, and you know that you're being fucking racist, because if you can tell an entire group of people, I don't want to fuck with you based solely off of your complexion, bitch, how the hell do you say, how can you sit there and go, oh, well, that doesn't make me racist. That's just my preference. A preference is you can like both. You just, okay, if they got chicken on the menu and they got steak, I want the chicken. But if you can just be like, no, I would never do this, I never want this, then you have to take accountability for yourself. And if that's what you want to be, that's what you want to do, you can do that. But stay away from me. Don't bring it over here because I don't want to hear about it. I don't want, you can keep your old timey crap, whatever you got going on, you keep that over there. You keep it with you, but let everybody else live theirs. And don't be nitpicking when somebody calls you out on it. If you want to be that person, you can write it online. You can sit there, this is who I am. Okay. So when you're called out on it.
That's an excuse. I hate when people say that.
And a lot of you use that as an excuse. Or I've had a bad experience with, who hasn't had a bad experience?
You know, a lot of white people have never had a bad experience a day in their life due to their whiteness.
Exactly. And you get the, well, I had a bad experience with someone who was Black, or I've had a bad experience with someone who was, I'm like, so you're going to condemn an entire race of people because you had a bad experience with one person?
Correct, yes.
So then I'm like, if we were to do that, oh, we're horrible. How dare we?
Yeah.
You're discriminating against me.
Yeah.
Okay, but when it's thrown back in your face that you're doing the exact same thing, it's a preference.
Mm.
So is it a preference or is it full-on discrimination? I'm going to need you to learn it. Because if you can just cast aside an entire race of people without getting to know them, two, without even talking to anybody of that particular race, but then you want to sit there and go, but it's a preference. No, it's not a preference. You're racist and it is what it is. So sorry, but not sorry.
You know, I think it's interesting because I've never really like approached other ethnicities. 9 times out of 10, they've probably approached me. Which makes me really question that, like, am I really as open as I say I am? Because, or maybe I'm just fearing rejection because 9 times out of 10, I do hear because I have like white friends. And so I know I sound like one of them, but like, I'll be listening to them have conversation like I'm not there. And they'll be talking about how like, oh, I don't date Black guys because of like XYZ. Or no, like the darkest I'll ever go is like maybe a Mexican or something like that. And I'm just like, A, I'm right here. And B, it's like, what are you talking about? So I've never been hit with the like, I don't date Black guys. But again, that's also because I've never put myself out there to, be rejected in that form or fashion. What about you? Like, because,
So there's been times where I've talked to people and I've been hit with the, sorry, no Black guys. And it's been, okay.
Is it just white people?
No, it's been white, Asian, Latino, Middle Eastern, and even some Black guys.
They've all said that?
Yeah, and even some Black guys have been like, oh, I don't date Black guys. And I'm like,
what?
Girl, you Black.
Right.
We cut from the same cloth. What you talking?
Right, like what is going on?
But a lot of them are going off the Eurocentric standards of beauty and what they consider is deemed as beautiful. And people with darker skin are always considered to be not beautiful, which I don't know who told them that we wasn't beautiful.
Right. And that always makes me wonder, like, the Black women that don't date other Black women intentionally. It's like, who hurt you? Like, or who told you that you weren't like, or that we weren't desirable? Like, and how do you go through life like with that mindset of like Black people are XYZ or Black queer men are XYZ and that's why I don't date them?
I don't know how they go through life like that. I'm like, because you were born 9 times out of 10 by a Black man and a Black woman. So for you to just openly say that, oh, I can't do this, why can't you? Like, what's the nitty gritty? I mean, was it something that how you were raised? Was it something that you went through? I'm like, so just help figure, like, you're gonna need to give some understanding on this because we lost. Because I don't know how you just, oh, I just can't. And everyone just, well, if it's their choice, I'm like, okay, it's their choice. If that's what you want to do, keep it to yourself then. And our final question, Dwayne, what's some advice you would give someone who's interested in interracial dating?
Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, don't be like me, y'all. Don't be like me trying to taste the rainbow. Okay, like, don't sample people. People are not like buffets. People are not like
Toys.
Yeah, they're not toys. People are people. They have emotions. They have feelings. They have thoughts. They have interests. So, I would say make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, but also like use your discernment and vice versa. Make sure that the people who you are dating you for you, not your skin color.
Same. Like, if you're gonna date someone, date them for them. Don't date them based off of skin complexion or stigma or just crap like that you've heard. Because 9 times out of 10, where a lot of things are based in fact, that will leave you lonely. Especially if you over here trying to wait for Mr. Right. Bring your standards out of heaven and bring them back down to earth, because reality is so much better than fantasy. And you fantasizing about somebody that you believe is going to be showing up and they're going to be coming, you're going to be waiting forever by yourself because you don't know where love is, what love looks like. So just go there, be yourself, but also don't ever degrade or sacrifice who you are just to please somebody.
Right.
If they want you to change everything about who you are, then that's not the person for you.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, you'll find somebody who loves everything about you, flaws and all, and especially on flaws, because we all got some flaws.
Some of us more than others. It's me.
No, he didn't. But yeah, just make sure that they care and love you for you, and it'll start to show. And if they're just fetishizing you and using you for that, you'll also be able to see that too. Because it's, like I said earlier in the show, if 2 years go by, a year go by, and they only know base information about you, that's not for you. Because they're not thinking about you.
Okay, somebody who really loves you is going to go above and beyond the bare minimum.
They're going to invest.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not invested in you, but you invest in everything you got in them, you need to rethink who you then gave your heart and everything else to.
Okay, reevaluate, because you shouldn't feel drained.
It's given very much the 5 stages of change.
Okay. So, wow. Thanks, Kayla.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was an amazing conversation. We hope you enjoyed the Interracial Love Says Who episode of the Healthy Him Show. Okay. You can find me at networks.outhere on Instagram, and you can find Kaylin
at Healthy Him at APLA.
Okay, period. Oh, is it at Healthy Him at APLA, or is it at Healthy Him?
I think it's at Healthy Him.
Okay. He added a little bit of something, y'all, but it's okay. So you can find Kaylin at Healthy Him and at Swab and Chill on TikTok. And you can also find us at the networks.apla on TikTok. We're going to change that soon, though. And if you need an HIV test, you can call Kaylin up or Ryan when he comes back, and they can send you a Swab and Chill test. Or if you don't want to wait and you just want to come on down to Baldwin Hills and see us live and in color, okay, you can come down to the Out Here Sexual Health Clinic, and we will, give you a little finger prick or whatever and get you your results in less than 5 minutes. We have our PrEP and PEP services. We also have some housing services, some counseling, mental health services, and more. Just come on down and see us, really. if you really want to know what's going on, we have our groups on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have our hip hop class from 6:30 to 8. Taught by me. Okay, it's fun. It's a good time. Okay, we be like, okay. And then we have Black Queer Talks on Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 with me and Ryan and Kaylin. Okay, and this past week we talked about the 5 stages of change. I feel like everybody was very enthused, and it was a revelation for everybody. And yeah, we talked about some good stuff. We had the doctor a couple weeks ago, and yeah, come see us.
And if you are HIV positive or know someone who's HIV positive, you can always come down here and we will link you into care.
All right. So without further ado, this is Dwayne Saviv.
And this is Kaylin
saying bye.